So, the World Economic Forum is going to have their annual competition of trying to stay awake while someone drones on about numbers. And usually before that, Oxfam comes out with a report showing that very few people control a large amount of the wealth in the world. The last report showed that just 62 people controlled half of all the wealth in the world. The report before that showed it was 80. And this number keeps shrinking, which shows that income inequality is growing for a wide variety of reasons that people mostly don't agree on. Anyway, people see these reports and see that something's obviously wrong and we should do something about it. A lot of them think that if we just take the money away from those rich fat cats, who probably inherited it all anyway, I mean, think of all the problems we could solve. Just these 62 people have $1.7 trillion. I mean, that's 176 followed by 10 zeros. That's a lot of money. Just think of all the things we could do with that, like, I don't know, cure cancer, solve world hunger, free education. Everyone could go to college for free with that. I mean, it's just wrong that these people have all that much money when there's so much we could do with it, right? Yeah, about that. See, if we round up our pitchforks and go down to the bank where these rich fat cats have all their money, crack open that safe, and maybe there's going to be around $100,000 each, if that much at all. So where's the money? First of all, that $1.76 trillion doesn't actually exist. The reality is it's assets that are valued at. In other words, their company is estimated to be worth a certain amount of money, not that they actually have that amount of money in cash. It's the businesses that are worth that amount of money. Aha! So we just go to the businesses and then we'll get the money, right? Well, no, because companies are not cash. They are made up of buildings and infrastructure and tools and machinery, and sometimes things that don't even actually physically exist, like patents and licenses and goodwill. And what's goodwill anyway? But the big thing here is that wealth that these rich people have, it's already being used, and not by other rich people, but by everyone. And that includes you. Here, let's use Larry Page as an example for simplicity. Forbes ranks him as the 12th richest person in the world. He has a net worth of $34.4 billion. So where's all that dough, or cheese, or cheddar, or lettuce? Why is it that euphemisms for money always seem to be food-based? Anyway, he's the owner of Google, or it's officially known as Alphabet for corporate administrative purposes. Where's all of his money? It's in Google and YouTube and other Google products like autonomous cars and Gmail and this thing called Google Plus. Don't know if you heard of it. Every time you use a Google something, like say log into your Gmail account, you're using Larry Page's wealth. He owns all the servers and the infrastructure that are necessary to make Google a thing. And it's not just for him to use, it's for everyone to use, and for free. Watching this video and being entertained by it, hopefully, doesn't cost you anything. You are using Larry Page's stuff in order to be able to watch it, which is Larry Page's wealth. And you're using his wealth right now. This works for other things too. Let's use Richard Branson as another easy example. He's worth about $4.9 billion. Do you want to use some of his wealth? Well, you can book a flight on Virgin Atlantic, or browse some music at Virgin Megastores, or you can call someone on Virgin Mobile. You have access to his wealth, all of those things. He owns all of those things, but they are used by millions of people every day. Of course, you don't get to fly for free. I mean, running an airline costs money, but you still benefit from his wealth and your ability to use his wealth, because even though it costs you to fly on the airplane, the overall net benefit of buying the ticket and then going on that trip, say flying from New York to London and back, you benefit more from paying for the airfare to go on that trip than it costs you to pay for that airfare on the trip, which is why you bought the ticket in the first place, because you benefit more than it costs you. So when we say that these rich people have piles and piles of money, it's not that that money is going to waste, or it's not being used, or that it benefits only rich people. Everyone is benefiting from it in some way or another. Now, this doesn't mean that the system is perfect. Far from it, as a matter of fact, and any system can be improved. And to be fair, not very many people are in favor of taking money away from rich people. They're more in favor of things like raising taxes on the rich, which is basically having the government go take money from rich people. But anyway, they're willing to leave the rich with enough money. But exactly how much money is enough is kind of subjective. Like, say, Larry Page, for example, how much money does he really need? Well, the question is, need for what? If it's to sit on the beach all day sipping margaritas, well, maybe a couple million will be enough. But if we're talking about providing the entire world with a free search engine and a browser and email and YouTube and developing electric autonomous cars, well, that's going to take a lot more money. Billions of dollars. Come to think of it, about $34.4 billion actually. Now, this doesn't mean that we can improve on income inequality. In fact, we definitely can. And I heartily encourage a discussion on how to improve wealth distribution. And to be perfectly honest, I'm a little bit nervous about so much wealth being in the hands of so few people. But if we're going to be advocating for change, we have to make sure that it's an improvement on what's already there. If you're going to be advocating for taxing the rich, then you have to make sure that the government is going to be spending that money on something that's more useful than what is already being done with that money. And that's without getting into the moral debate of taxation and theft. And you can take that fight down into the comments. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this peek into the world of the rich and what they do with their money. I can get a bit carried away on this subject because I like money. So don't forget to subscribe if you're an awesome person, and I'll see you next time.